Decoding is the largest and the best explored of the underground cities in the central area of Turkey, known as Cappadocia.
Deep beneath the sun-baked hills of Turkey, a world untouched for nearly 3 millennia has just opened its doors. For centuries, local villagers knew of shallow caves beneath their homes. Cool, dark spaces used to store food away from the relentless Anatolian sun. They believed them to be simple cellars, nothing more. They were wrong. In recent years, archaeologists have followed these tunnels deeper, breaking through stone barriers that were sealed in the Bronze Age. What they found was not a collection of caves, but a revelation. Sprawling, multi-level cities carved from the bedrock with breathtaking precision. A subterranean world frozen in time that is forcing a complete reevaluation of what humanity was capable of thousands of years before the Roman Empire. The sheer scale of these constructions is difficult to comprehend. In the historic Midyat district, what was once thought to be a few isolated tunnels is now revealing itself to be a metropolis. Archaeologists have so far mapped over 120 meters of passages and cleared 50 chambers, but they estimate this is less than 5% of the total city. The full network is believed to sprawl over 900,000 square meters, an area larger than 126 football fields hidden entirely underground. These were not crude hideouts. They were meticulously engineered environments. Perfectly vertical ventilation shafts, some descending dozens of meters, still draw fresh air from the surface, creating a functional airflow system that works to this day. Intricate drainage channels, rivaling modern municipal standards, prevented flooding and managed waste. At critical junctions, defensive choke points were designed, fortified with colossal rolling stone doors, each weighing several tons that could be moved by just a few people to seal off sections of the city from intruders. And Midyat is not an anomaly. It's part of a pattern. Across Turkey, sites like Derinkuyu and Kaymakli in the Cappadocia region reveal the same mastery. Derinkuyu could house up to 20,000 people along with their livestock. Its 18 subterranean levels contained everything needed for a thriving community. Chapels, stables, wine presses, meeting halls, and vast storage rooms. These were not random acts of construction. This was a deliberate, highly organized, and widespread approach to subterranean living. The question is not if they built these cities, but how. And more importantly, why? But the true mystery isn't just the scale of the cities, it's what was sealed inside them. Some chambers were not just abandoned, they were intentionally preserved, their entrances blocked with stone and earth, creating perfect time capsules. The Gordian royal tomb is the most stunning example. Dated to nearly 2,800 years ago, it was discovered beneath a man-made earthen mound. When archaeologists finally removed the last layer of stone, they didn't step into a ruin. They stepped into a moment frozen in time. Wooden beams of juniper and cedar spanned the ceiling, as solid as the day they were placed. Dozens of ornate bronze vessels, cauldrons, ceremonial jugs, and incense burners still hung from their original iron hooks, precisely where mourners had placed them for a king's eternal journey. No collapse, no decay, no disturbance. It was as if history itself had been paused. Dr. Gareth Derbyshire of the University of Pennsylvania, one of the first to enter, described the experience as surreal. You're walking into a world untouched by time. The smell of ancient wood, the faint glint of bronze, the sheer orderliness of it all. Everything is exactly as it was 2,800 years ago. The scientific implications are extraordinary. In these anaerobic, sealed environments, organic materials that normally vanish have survived. Wood, textiles, even traces of food and funerary feasts remain intact. This level of preservation is an archaeological dream, opening a door to a question that could rewrite the human story itself.
Turkey has always been a crossroads of human history. But what if these chambers hold evidence of a human lineage we never knew existed? Consider what happened in Siberia's Denisova cave, a single finger bone and a tooth fragment discovered in 2010 were all it took for geneticists to identify an entirely unknown branch of the human family tree, the Denisovans. They were not Neanderthals, nor modern humans, but a distinct population whose existence was previously only a ghost in our genome. Now, imagine what lies in the perfectly preserved underground complexes of Turkey. Human remains have been found, and with them, the potential for intact ancient DNA. Researchers have begun the painstaking process of extracting genetic samples. If they uncover a previously unknown human population, one responsible for these sophisticated constructions, it would fundamentally alter our understanding of evolution, migration, and technological development in the Bronze Age. Could the builders of these marvels have been a civilization with intellectual and technical capabilities that equaled or even surpassed their known contemporaries? Every step into these chambers is a step into potentially uncharted human history. But these people may have left more than their bones. They may have left their words. Carved into the walls of these sealed chambers are faint markings, barely visible to the naked eye. These are not random scratches. They are intentional, systematic symbols, patterns that could represent a language lost to time. At sites from the Gordian tomb to Midyat, archaeologists have discovered inscriptions that challenge the known timeline of writing. Some markings appear to predate the earliest Hittite cuneiform scripts, the first known writing in Anatolia. Could these symbols be the records of a civilization that existed before written history as we know it? Decoding them is a monumental task, but modern technology is offering a key. The University of Chicago is deploying an AI system called DeepScribe, capable of analyzing ancient writing with remarkable accuracy. Using advanced imaging and pattern recognition, it can detect and reconstruct characters that human eyes would miss. The implications are staggering. If these inscriptions contain coherent writing, they could push back the timeline of literacy. They could hold records of rituals, engineering methods, or even a history of the world from a perspective we never knew existed. For archaeologists, it's like discovering a library that has been closed for 3 millennia, and the first books are finally being opened.
The story of these cities is not just human, it's geological. Turkey sits on one of the most active fault lines on Earth. Over millennia, volcanic eruptions deposited thick layers of ash, which hardened into tuff, a soft rock, easy to carve, yet stable. This geology made the construction of these cities possible and, ironically, helped seal and preserve them. But researchers have found something else: anomalous geological signatures. In multiple chambers, they've discovered traces of vitrified or melted rock and unusual soot deposits, evidence of exposure to a blast of extreme heat that appears to have come not from a volcano, but from above. Scientists are now exploring terrifying possibilities. Could these be the markers of a major meteor impact, or the aftermath of a catastrophic solar flare, an event powerful enough to scorch the Earth's surface? These scientific theories resonate with the region's oldest myths. Ancient Hittite texts describe gods hurling fire from the sky. Greek legends placed the entrance to the underworld, Hades, in Anatolia, associating it with cosmic fire and divine punishment. Were these myths simply stories? Or were they the cultural memory of a real cataclysm, a global event that drove an entire civilization underground, not just for protection from enemies, but for survival against a hostile sky? The underground world of Turkey is a puzzle of staggering complexity, a network of cities built with impossible engineering, sealed tombs that have defeated time itself, the genetic ghost of a possible lost humanity, a forgotten language waiting to be read, and the faint geological echo of a catastrophe that may have spurred it all. These are not just curiosities. They are evidence of a highly organized, technologically advanced, and resilient civilization that flourished in the shadows of what we call history. They built a world beneath our feet, preserved their knowledge, sealed their doors, and vanished. For millennia, these chambers held their secrets in absolute silence. Now the doors are finally swinging open. And as the silence gives way to the questions of a new century, we realize the ultimate mystery is no longer what is down there, but who.